Hello everyone. So a little warning, I am recording at my cousin's house. I had to go to like Calaveras area to celebrate her birthday. So I kind of snuck away a little bit though so I can do my homework. If you see this light in my glasses, it's my tablet. I'm using it as my notes. But I wanted to start with comparing Silverstein and Pulaski, their poems. The one of the major differences I noticed with the Pulaski poems is like Bleezer's ice cream. He uses this very imaginative language, like almost like hyperbole, how he is so extreme with what he says, and it really causes a reaction. So in the reading, how we read that, a lot of kids like don't like poetry either because their teacher's a little afraid of it and doesn't show, intimidated by it, or they just get bored. I feel like Proletsky kind of has taken that into account and has made his poetry more shocking. So that's very interesting to kind of see. And then I think Silverstein is more about humor. And also another big difference was like Proletsky's poetry style is almost like the things that, oh my god, sorry, I just noticed that I have like a dark spot of makeup right here. Anyway, I did notice that his humor style was more childlike. In Silverstein, because I read Silverstein growing up as a kid, I loved Silverstein's book. Where the Sidewalk Ends was my absolute favorite. I felt like he kind of like put you in places that you would be prepping for adolescence, if that makes sense. And Proletsky's is more so entertaining for all ages, more childlike ages. He also uses more rhythm in his poems, and Silverstein uses sometimes he does non-rhyming poems, sometimes it's just like here's some words. So I think they both do a really good job of like mental imagery though. So I'm going to pull up my notes to discuss the two books that I reviewed. The first one was called Can I Touch Your Hair? Poems about race, misunderstandings, and friendship. And it's by Irene Latham and Marcus Waters. So it's by two authors. They both take turns writing poems. One is an African American male and one is a Caucasian female. Marcus, which is a male, I'd say obviously, but let's more open. Anyway, sorry. He is from Louisiana. She is from Philadelphia. It's more of an autobiographical. Sorry, I cannot read right now. It's more autobiographical. There we go. Yes. In that it speaks of like everyday things, misunderstandings. It's very interesting. Marcus Waters has a poem in there where he talks about his shoes and how his shoes look different than his friends, and I think it was a really amazing story, and it also, like, if you're reading it to your child, it's going to bring up a conversation of race and misunderstandings, which I think is very important, especially in this day and age. We definitely need to talk to our children about our differences. I grew up when we would talk about how everything's the same, but I feel like that takes away a lot of what validates a human being. So I think teaching our children what makes us different, but also how we can enjoy those differences, is very important. So that book was great. It was great to read. And then the second book was Stay Alive by Skyla Brown. It was a historical fiction written about the Donner Party through the perspective of Marianne Graves. They were a family that headed out to the West I'm running out of time. That headed out to the West in the 1800s. I hope you've heard of the Donner Party before. If you haven't, I would definitely look them up. There's some great YouTube videos on them. But they were a family who were traveling from like Michigan in the 1800s, and the poem book is like a novel verse poetry book. It uh, goes over how Marianne felt going through all of this. They ended up eating each other for survival, and it shows more of her thought process during that versus the gruesomeness of, eating someone. So that was a very good poetry book. It was based in a true story, so like I could totally see how kids would be captivated by that. They'd hear the name is Stay Alive, and that was from a poem about her father telling her, stay alive, do what you need to, go Mary, stay alive. Like, that's so. Anyway, this video has gone far too long. I think the time limit's like 5 minutes, and it's almost 6. Thank you so much for listening. These poetry books were amazing. I can't wait for next week. I hope you guys do an amazing job.